This week's lecture is about how to create families. That is chapter 5. So families are the main constitute of Revit and how it has been constructed. If you are familiar with object-oriented programming, each family is basically an object. So you can create an object and you can reuse it. If you look at the sample project, you see that if you hold your cursor on any object, it shows you what type of family it is, or what family it is and what type it has. So in case of roof, it is the family of roof, it is the type of basic roof, and then it has like sort of subtypes. And the wall, same. So we talked about walls, we have basic walls, we have different types of walls. And the thing about walls is that it's a type of family that you cannot actually create. You cannot create a family of wall. That is given by Revit, but you can create or modify types of wall. But there are other objects such as casework. That is the family of casework, and you can create a family of casework. There are templates that you can use and create family. So again, if you create one family, you can reuse it in any project, or you can give it to someone else to use. And as you know, some families can also be downloaded from the internet. There are different websites that people have uploaded families to. Some of them are free, some are for sale. So let's see how you can create a family. To create a family, you need to, if we are here, you can go to File, New, and then you create a family project. So you can click on that, and then there are multiple templates that you can use. So if we scroll down, the first thing we want to do is actually to create a profile. So what you can do is to scroll down, and you see that there are hosted families and there are non-hosted families. The difference is that if you use a hosted family, that means it will look for a host. For example, if you create a sofa that is hosted by wall, then it always looks for a wall to be attached to. It's like windows that they are hosted by walls. But we can choose also non-hosted families. So I'm going to choose the profile template and then open that template. I don't need this sample project. I'm going to close it. So as you see, it gives me reference planes to use. That is important because actually to create families, because that is more detailed work, we need to have these reference planes. Pay attention to the tabs. You see that it is different from Revit project. So we have Create tab, we have Insert, View, Manage, Add in, and Modify. So we have a smaller number of tabs, and then mostly we need to use the Create tab, and we can create different shapes, and we can also load it into a project, which we will talk about later. So the first thing I want to do is to create a profile of a table leg. In this lecture, I want to create a table. So the first thing I need to do is to create the profile of the leg, and later we will see how to use it. To create that, actually, I'm going to use line. So as you see under Create tab, we have Detail panel, and on the ribbon you can use line. And here the menu given to you, or the ribbon, the panel is very similar to what you're used to. So you have your basic draw panel, and you can use different shapes to draw with. To create the table leg, I'm going to use a line and a start end radius. The height of the table is going to be 2 feet 9 inches. So that's the first line I'm going to create. I'm going to start from the center of or intersection of my reference lines. Actually, these are reference planes, not reference lines. Again, you can type 2, 9. That stands for 2 feet 9 inches. Enter, and that will create that line for you. The bottom part of the table is 1 inch, so I'm going to create that. So for inch, I need to type 1 inch, enter. Okay, since it didn't create it, going back to create line, 1 inch, enter, or click. And then actually I'm going to start from the top of, I can create this part of it, and then let's just do 5 inches at the bottom, and then I'm going to start from the top of it. I'm going to mostly eyeball it, so if you also don't get it perfectly, if you don't get it exactly the same shape, that is fine. Just try to follow as closely as possible. So here I'm going to do 2.5 inches. So you can again eyeball it, or you can type 2.5 inches. And then I'm going to use a start and radius arc. So here I'm going to start from the end point and go 1 inch. The next one is just a line, so I'm going to use a line, and that is 2 inches. Next is start and radius. So if you click and as you see, if I click outside the on canvas, then I will lose my tool. So you need to go back to create, click on line, and click on start and radius. Here, oh, actually I meant to do 1 inch here. And again, you can type 1 inch, that's for the radius. Next is a 6 inches. I'm trying to eyeball it. So here I'm going to go 6 inches. For the radius, if you don't get it or you don't have it exactly the same, again, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Try to eyeball it. Then I'm going to add a 1 inch. You can zoom in or zoom out to get this. And then I'm going to go 3 inches. Another 1 inch in. So I'm still working with start and radius. You could use line for these smaller dimensions, or you could continue with start and radius. Here I'm going 4 inches. Here, let me add a line here. Now I'm going to add a small 1 inch line. You can type 1 inch. Then I'm going to add 8 inches here. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to do line. I have created this before, but I'm intentionally recreating this with you. So I want to make sure that you also get time to do it with me. And in case you need to see exactly how I'm doing it, you can follow. But again, if you get it slightly differently, that is fine. So here is the table leg profile. Again, if yours doesn't look exactly the same, that's fine, but try to follow similar shape. So to have some curves and some lines. And I'm going to go to File, Save As. So make sure you save this as a family. Project and templates are disabled anyway, but make sure you save it as family so it's not saved as a template. Don't save it in samples. Save it in one of your own folders. I'm not sure if you can save it under samples. So I'm going to save it under documents, my courses. Okay, I will save it under chapter 5. This is my dining table. Pay attention to the type of file. It is an RFA file. So that is a family file, family Revit family extension. Remember that that's important. It's not an RVT file. Save it. Okay, I don't need this for now, so let's go ahead and close this one. Okay, when we are at the home page and I want to create a new family, as you see here, I have the option to create new project or open one of the latest projects I had opened. Same with families. I can also create a new family from the home page. So it always opens the template. So you can choose the template and it is great help to have these templates. For furniture, you can click on furniture. As you see, there is no hosted furniture. So all furnitures are without a host. And the file name is an RFT. Pay attention to the extension. Don't save your file created as a template. Otherwise, it will open as a blank file. It will not show the family you created. So let's go ahead and open. As you see, multiple views are opened. So that's the benefit of having the template because it has already created some views for us. Let's go to view and choose tile view. That way I can see multiple views on Canvas or in one page. Go ahead and type ZA so that zooms all in. In 3D, we don't see anything because we do not have anything yet. After we create, if we do not see, we can do ZA again. So I have my reference planes and I need to add more reference planes for my table. So the first thing I'm going to do is to add more reference planes. I need to go back to Create tab. Under Datum, I have the option to add reference planes. So click on that. And then you can see that it gives me an option, like it shows me the dimension and how far away it is. I can just add it and then fix the dimensions based on what I want. So I'm going to add one here. Here is the temporary dimension. I want this to be 3 feet. So I'm going to type 3, enter. I'm going to create another one on top, create, and then click on the temporary dimension. And this one is going to be 1 foot 6 inches. So here I can also add names, but before doing that, let me create the other two I meant to create. If you click on this one, you can use mirror and recreate. And same thing with the top one. I can use mirror and the axis. So first you click on the object that you want to mirror. This one says mirror pick axis. So you need to pick the axis and it will create exactly the mirrored one on the other side. So now let's rename this. So let's call this one bottom. This one I can call. So if you click on that box, you should be able to rename it left. This one I'm going to rename it to right, and the top one. So the top one is top, the bottom one is named bottom, right, and left. And if you want to clean this up, you can do that. So I can have a clean model. So you can extend this slightly to have the reference planes also same size as each other. So here I have added my reference planes. What is important about families is that you can create one family with multiple sizes. So for example, for doors and windows, you have noticed that for one type of window, you can have multiple sizes. Same for doors. And that is also what we want to do here. So it's important to add constraints. The first constraint I'm going to add here is actually EQ or equal distancing. So let's do that. So if you click on align dimension or DI and go from the left reference plane to the center one, the right one, it's 3 inches as 3 feet each as we had specified. If you click outside of it, you see this EQ. You can click on it and both of these will be equal to each other. The next thing I want to do is to add another one. Here I'm going to add, that is 6 feet. Same thing here, EQ, and I'm going to add the dimension. I'm going to increase, have to, oops, went the other way. Okay, I hope that's large enough. So I added one constraint, which is adding EQ or equal distancing to my dimensions, and I will show you why that is important. So the next thing I want to do is to actually add a flex. Flexing is a concept that ensures I can have multiple sizes of the object I have created. To do that, I need to select my dimension. So I'm going to click on this 6 feet dimension I had added. After you click on that dimension, if you go back to create and click on it, you can actually modify, and under label dimension it says create parameter. By adding a parameter, I can actually create a type that I can create multiple types. So this is going to be the length of my table. Let's add a cookie description. This is the length of dining table. Same thing on this side. Make sure you do not lock these EQs. Otherwise, it will not flex correctly. On this side also, I'm going to create a label, name it width. And the description is width of the okay. So I have added more constraints, and by doing that I can now flex or add multiple types. Let's now click on family types. So under properties you can click on family types, So here you see that I have the dimensions I created. So now if you click on this new type, and you can name this one 6-feet table. So now I have a table with the type name of 6-feet table. That is how, for example, you have worked with doors and windows. That is how the types have been defined. I can create another one. So this has already been created. I can create another one. I can name this one. Let's call this one 7-feet table. And now I can change this to 7 and 4. I can do a quick test. So let's see. So if I apply this, it should adjust my dimensions. So you see, because of the EQs and length I added, I have the option to create multiple types. I can also add another one. 8 feet. Good, but it's okay. So 8 feet and 5. Apply this one too. There we go. So it is correctly flexing. If yours is not doing that, something is wrong. Either you have not added the EQs correctly, or your length or dimensions are not correct. So here I have my multiple types for the table I want to create. And here you have also the option to create a new parameter. So if you also want to add height, for example, the height of the table is going to be the same. So you can delete the parameter, you can move them up or down, you can sort them. So here I have done the type creation I wanted to do. I'm going to say okay. Actually, let's go back and leave it at 6 feet, which was my original size. Okay, the next thing I want to do is in the front view, I can create 2 more reference planes, and those are going to define my tabletop. So go back to create. Under datum, we have reference planes. The height of the table is 2 feet 9 inches. So I can go up 2 feet 9 inches, or I can just add one and then I can correct it. 2 feet 9 inches. You see that I do not need to specify the units. If you just type 2 space 9 enter, it will know that it is 2 feet 9 inches. The other one is going to be 3 feet. So I'm going to just add that one. And here it's giving me the dimension between these two. So these two are 3 feet actually away from each other. Now that I'm here and it's giving me the option to rename it, let's name this one table and now I need to go 3 inches. So that is the top of the tabletop. This is bottom of tabletop bottom. And these two, actually, I don't want them to move, right? So I'm going to pin both of them. Make sure they do not move. This is not what I want to flex. I want the height again to be the same. So I'm going to lock them. Before unlocking it, I can extend this so I have them exactly the same size. So always try to clean up your model. I named them. So that is tabletop bottom, and let's actually say bottom, just cleaning up. And the other one is tabletop top. Um, so you will see why these are important later. So it helps if you have meaningful names. Now I want to add my tabletop. Go back to create. I can first specify the work plane, so I can go to set and specify my work plane. If I do not do that, it will create it at the bottom on the center reference line that it had by itself. It had already created in the template. So then you need to shift it up. Let's set it first. So I can set it by name. I know that I want it to be tabletop bottom. I want the tabletop to sit on tabletop bottom. So that is the reference plane. I'm going to select that, say OK. It's going to ask me which view I want to work with. It's giving me two options. So I want to work with the floor plan. Open view, it's already open. So you can just go to that view. I'm going to create an extrusion. So from forms, choose solid extrusion. And always pay attention to the option bar. You see that here you also have the option bar. I'm not going to change anything here. I don't want an offset. The extrusion end, I'm going to change that to 3 inches. And then I can go to rectangle and start creating a rectangle of 3 by 6. So that's my table. After you are done, you can say finish edit mode. So let's check it in 3D. Again, if you don't have the 3D, you can do ZA and zoom in to get to the 3D. You need to move it up and down a little bit. And let's go to shaded view. There we go. I have created an extrusion and that defines my table. It would have been good to have locked my dimensions so they do not move. So let's, actually I'm going to delete this and do it again to show you. So let's do that again. So I'm going to lock the shape. That ensures that my tabletop does not move. And finish. So if you had not set the work plane in the beginning, you could have done it now. So if you found out that your tabletop is actually not at the right place, you can select it and then you can edit work plane and choose the right work plane. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to add the legs. To be able to add the legs, I'm going to add more reference planes. So I know that I add the legs correctly. I'm going to go slightly smaller size on these dimensions. So now that I add new dimensions, you can see them better. Okay, I think that is still visible, but it gives me a little bit more room to add the new dimensions. Okay, so I want the legs to be about here. So go back to create and use reference plane. And again, I can just add my reference planes and then fix the dimensions. Here, I want it to be 4 inches away from this one. So 4 inches. The next one I want to create is from here to here. And I want it to be 5 feet away from the other one. I mean 5 inches, sorry. And somehow I perfectly did that. Same thing here. I'm going to add one here. And this one I want it to be 4 inches. And the next one, I click one that says, okay, here I add another one, and this one I want it to be 5 inches. Oops, 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to hit escape. So here is where I'm going to add the leg. To add the other 2 or 4 reference planes, what you can do is that to select these 2 and mirror using the axis. So there we go. I could have cleaned this up before mirroring them. And same thing with these 2. I'm going to select them and use mirror by picking an axis. Here I have created my reference planes. I'm going to add dimensions so then you can also see which ones I have added, and I'm actually going to lock these dimensions. So let's add one here. That one I'm not going to lock. This one I'm going to lock it. The one from here to the end of the table I'm going to lock. Next one is, so I already added that one here. Did I add one here? Okay, I'm actually going to lock this one. From here to here, lock this one, and from here to here, lock this one, and from here to here, and lock this one. So that ensures that the legs move correctly when I flex the size of my table. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to add my sweep. I'm going to click on sweep. So the ribbon, as you see, it has a slightly different draw panel. So first it wants me to sketch a path. So for sweep, I need a path, right? So I'm going to click on sketch path, and I'm going to choose circle. So I want to create the leg of the table, right? So I'm going to create a very small circle here. So then when I add the profile of the table leg, it will going to sweep around this. Let's just do a very small, I think that's fine, 1/4 of an inch. So that defines just the path basically. And finish edit mode. I am, as you see, I'm still in edit mode, but this time I need to add a profile. So I can load the profile I had already created. This is the dining table leg profile. And I can open it. And here I should have it under the, so as you see, the table leg has been added, that the profile has been added. Now if I say finish edit mode, it should sweep it. And let's go to 3D view so you can see, there we go. I have created one leg. Let's go ahead and create the other 3. So what I can do is that I can, this has already been selected, so I can go to mirror and mirror this one. Then I can select both of these using Control key and say mirror again, use that center axis. So here 4 legs have been added. Again, if the legs are not at the right place, you can select the leg and change the reference plane of the leg. Sorry, not reference plane, the work plane of the leg. What I can do now is to see if it is still flexing correctly. So let's go to 7 feet table, say apply. Says there are some constraints that they need to be removed. Let's remove them and see if it works. It seems like it removed them and it is fine. Okay, actually it seems like I made a mistake. So as you see, I did not lock all of my table legs correctly. So actually the table legs have moved. So 8, let's apply it again. Yeah, you see that there is something wrong with the table leg. So I need to go back and see what is wrong and correct it. Okay, let's double check this. That is locked, that's locked, that is right. Um, Locked. So that they shouldn't move. Let's do something. Let's actually go back to the tabletop. And remember I had locked this the shape. Let's unlock it. So okay. Let's try again. Usually it should be locked, but let's try. That's the only thing I can think of. So apply. Oh, okay, it worked. I guess that was the problem. Okay, as long as it works, that's fine. So do not lock the shape. Let's leave it back at 6 feet. Apply. Say okay. Okay, so here I have added the legs as well, and it seems like I'm almost done. To have a nicer looking table, I'm going to add a sweep to the table as well. So go back to Create tab, and I'm going to set my work plane first. So I want the sweep to be at the top of the tabletop. So choose tabletop top. Okay. And then go to sweep. Here I could also select my work plane. So I need to also sketch a path. That's the first thing to do for sweep. I can use a rectangle tool or use line to go. There we go. So that defines the sweep shape or the path. I'm going to say finish edit mode. As you see, I'm still in edit mode because I need to add a profile. Last time I had created a profile before. This time I'm going to edit the profile here. So click on edit profile and I'm going to choose the view. I can either do it in left view or right view. Let's choose right view. So I will use this view. Say open view. That dot specifies the path I had created. So here I'm going to use line and start and radius to create the shape I want. Let's go 2 inches. Then I'm going to use, you can zoom in. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go the other way. Okay. So, and then I'm going to go this way. There we go. So that is the shape. So now if I say finish edit mode, it should create the sweep. There we go. So now I have a sweep around my table as well. The next thing I want to do is to add a void to my table. So if you go back to Create tab, you see that if I look at forms, there are different forms we have, and one is void forms. If you go to drop down menu, there is a void extrusion. I'm going to change the offset to 2 inches. And then also You can look at extrusion end and start. Let's not change that for now, that is fine. I can choose the rectangle. Before doing that, let's actually set my work plane because that gives me a better view of what's happening. So let's go to tabletop top. You see it's showing the work plane. Say OK. Now I should have a better view of what I'm sketching. So let's actually choose pick lines. And I'm going to, so I have, okay, let's change the offset to 2 inches. Lost that. So here I'm going to add one here, next one here. That is my tabletop, and then I'm actually going to use offset, and the 1 inch offset is fine. So I'm going to use 1 inch offset from the one I had already created. As you see, the corners are not clean, so I'm going to use trim extent corners to clean that up. You always click on the lines you want to keep. I don't know if we have gone over this, but if that's the first time we are doing it, to use that trim extent, you need to click on the lines we want to keep. Okay, it seems like my void form is fine. It's at the top of the table. Let's say finish edit mode. And here, let's see if it actually shows it correctly. If not, what we can do is that we can change the extrusion start and end. Let's change the start to -1 inch. So then that way I ensure that it actually is creating a void form and making a hole on top of the table. The next thing I want to do is to give this a material. So select part of the table, and then under material, you see materials and finishes, you see by category. If you click on that, you will see these 3 dots, sort of ellipse you can click on. And the default, I'm going to use that. Let's create a duplicate selected material. Let's name it a wood. You can give it any name. And then I'm going to click on the assets. And let's search for wood. Let's see which ones it gives me. And I'm going to go down to, I could have searched for wood or mahogany. So let's click on solid wood, nature polish, solid dark. Let's use this one. If you click on this, replaces the current asset in the editor, or if you double click on that, it will replace it. Then you can close the asset browser. So you see that it has changed the color and texture. If you click on this image, it will give you the texture editor. So you can also modify the texture. The brightness is 100, which is fine because it is a sort of polished look I want to have. For the rotation, let's change this to 90 degrees. So that way I can have a more polished surface. Say OK. And I have created, so I can say apply. So I have created, you can also check the graphics. You can change the color or pattern, which I do not want to do that. So I can just say OK. And if it has not been applied, you can try it again. Under material, you see that I didn't change it. So you can choose it again, and now you see the one. So this time if you say OK, it should change it. Let's see. Let's use render appearance. That is what I got. So it should apply it. There we go. So if you use a dark wood, actually it will look better. I thought the mahogany is a dark one, and that is what I used previously, but this time it's fine. This time I have a lighter color. I can go back and change this. Let's search for. Oh, it's dark medium gloss. That's the one I used. So not sure why it's not as dark. You can change the color also. I'm going to leave it as it is. I have another table with the dark color. So now you can choose tables, the legs, hold control, and material. I'm going to change all of these to this. There we go. So this is how you can apply material. Make sure you save your file. So save this one as dining table and save it. I'm actually going to open two files. I'm going to close this one and show you because I used mahogany before and it actually looks like this. So if yours looks like this, that is fine. So this is also the table decoration that you can add. I'm going to delete this and show you how to load this. So if you open that table decoration, and this is part of the assignment and or bonus. So if you create this, you name it table decoration, you open this. Okay, so let's do that again. My video had a hiccup. I had to pause it. So let's see where I was. So if you open that um, table decoration, you load it into the project, and then if you go under component, that table decoration is there, so then you can place it on top of the table. If you do not see it, make sure that so here it's actually at the bottom of the table. You can open other views. Let's open front view. So if it is there, and I have two of them, I guess I placed it, then you can move it up to the top of the table. Here to there. Now in my 3D view, I should be able to see it on top of the table, and you can move it slightly. Okay, there we go. So again, that table decoration is a bonus point on the assignment. If you want to create it, that's great. So here is the dining table we created. For material, if you do not get exactly the same color, that is fine. Depending on the computer you're using, sometimes those materials are not loaded the same on all installed versions of Revit. So don't worry if you have a slightly different color. And thank you. I hope this was helpful.